Hello, I'm Christine Pochily, Senior Customer Success Manager here at Elastic Path. I'm joined today by Elastic Path Commerce Cloud customer, Tom, Head of Business Operations at Maavee. Today, we'll be discussing how Maavee manages their catalog of over 300 products with Elastic Path Product Experience Manager. However, before we get started, Tom, can you please introduce yourself and Maavee?
Sure thing. Hi, Christine. We're looking forward to this session today. Yeah, as you mentioned, I'm Tom Laaber at Maavee. I'm heading up the operations side of the business operation of Maavee, which really means that I'm sitting between the business and our technology solutions, making sure that we work out the right approach, the right solutions, the right technology to support all our requirements. So, and I was part of from the very early stage on when we start to talk with Elastic Path about our ideas and implementation, etc. So I'm super excited to be here today and talk to you about our process and where we've gotten to today.
Yeah, excellent. So it just sounds like you're part of the entire business from implementation and even beyond from when you're running day-to-day operations. That's really exciting.
That's right, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Elastic Path Product Experience Manager, which we also refer to as PXM. Maavee has a vast catalog, as I mentioned, of over 300 plus products. When you first launched, you had a goal to have all of those products in your catalog. How many products do you have in your marketplace today?
That's right, yeah. So when we initially launched our marketplace, I mean, we're a startup company, and when we started, we were not only new to Elastic Path, we were also new to the market in general, right? And we had this ambitious goal to launch with a catalog of 300 plus products with our brand partners. Now, we launched mid of last year, roughly. Since then, we made significant progress, and we're pretty proud that we're working with a diverse range of over a couple of hundred brand partners today. And we're offering close to 1,000 products, and that's excluding all the variations. So including variations, we're almost up to 1,400 products, which is super exciting.
That is a huge number.
It is.
I know when I go shopping on Maavee, which I do often, I always find that there are a lot of variations on a lot of different products to fit what I'm currently looking at. So I do appreciate that you have that many products.
Oh yeah, and of course, I will talk a little bit about how we use Elastic Path to manage that vast catalog, right? Because as you can imagine, that requires some effort to do, or at least like a pretty clever way to do it, so you keep the admin effort pretty low. Now, the one thing I would like to mention is that curating our catalog is, we have a pretty we establish basically a set of defined criteria for all our brand partnerships. And we focus on 3 core areas, and we refer to them as yes. So all our brand partners or products have to be good for you, so good for the consumer. They have to be good for the environment and good for society, right? So with that framework, we want to ensure that all the brands we collaborate with are aligned to our values, and we provide really an exceptional offering to all our customers. Now, you can imagine that, we set out these criteria, we have this large number of products, and not just products. When I say products, I actually mean physical products as well as digital services, right? Okay. So with that, you can imagine we have different type of products. Really, the nature of the product is completely different when it's a physical versus a digital product. And with that, I just mentioned the criteria that how we select brand partners. We of course want to make sure that we also include that in our descriptions of the brand, so people know what this product or what this brand is known for, what we think, why they're so great. Now, this means that we came up with a I don't want to call it complex, but a way of like categorizing, tagging. We call streams, like we have all kind of like categorizations for brands, for products and for these digital services, which means that we have to really manage not just a big number of products and services. We also have to manage the categorization, and this is really where the PXM comes into game, right? And helps us to manage all of that and keep the admin level pretty low.
So when you're talking about tagging, you're talking about all these brands and the hierarchies in your catalogs, this is all happening within Elastic Path PXM.
That is all happening in Elastic Path. That's correct. Yes.
That's amazing. And I know from your story that when you guys were first launching Maavee, you were implementing a near end on Shopify Plus. Can you share with me a little bit the limitations that you encountered with that platform from a product data and catalog perspective?
Absolutely, yeah. And I actually love to talk about this. And it's not, that we failed, but we were implementing a different e-commerce platform. And the idea was really, as a startup company, you can imagine we had to balance, time to market, cost, flexibility, and all these things. And initially we thought, you know what, let's go with a quick and easy approach in phase one. And we always knew that we will migrate to a more robust solution later on, right? So that was pretty clear to us. And now, unfortunately, pretty quickly, we did realize, though, that this quick and easy way was not really sustainable. And we did encounter pretty significant technical obstacle, almost 95% into the implementation, just before we were about to launch our site, our product. And that's when we started to talk to Elastic Path. And really what happened is that we failed with the initial idea to go with this easy and quick way, but that turned out to be really in our favor in the end, because what it allowed us to do is sit down with Elastic Path. We went through the whole architecture, discussed all the details, and it allowed us to really align our e-commerce architecture with our long-term vision. Yeah. And we thought we're going to do that in 3+ years, but with that, we were able to do it pretty much now, which was super exciting.
You were able to do it now. And I know you keep saying fast and easy, but you were also able to implement Elastic Path in a pretty short time span. Also, your implementation, I think, was 4 to 6 months. I don't even think it wasn't even that long. Like, you were able to implement Elastic Path Commerce Cloud. The thing that you thought was going to be harder because it was a more robust platform was actually probably the same amount of time as it was for Shopify Plus.
Oh, absolutely. No, it was less than that. It was just a few months. And I think the reason we managed to implement that quickly was during the evaluation process, we had a pretty clear understanding of our vision, and we had an understanding of what we want. At the same time, we went in with a very open mind when we talked to your team, and really we talked to every single team at Elastic Path, right? Starting from you, the client success team, to sales teams, to product teams, to marketing teams, right? And that helped us a lot to get a really good understanding of how you guys work, what we have to do, and that allowed us really to implement pretty quickly, which was super exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I know at Elastic Path, and especially for me, it's always customer first, even internally and externally. It makes me happy to help you all be successful in your implementations and in your journeys for e-commerce. And so as we really talk about Elastic Path PXM, can you talk about how other members on your team are also using EPPXM and how it has impacted your business? Has it made it easier? Do things go faster? How do you foresee EPPXM helping you in the future also?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I mentioned a little bit about the, we have physical products, we have digital services, but on top of that, we have our solution. We build our solution. So we built the architecture of our solution, and we use it in the different front ends. So we have our primary solution is the Maavee app, but we also have websites that are fed by the Elastic Path process or database, really, right? So all of these things make it sound complex. It's not, it maybe on paper it looks a bit complex, but actually it's super easy to manage, luckily. But what it means is that we needed a solution that allowed us to not only, the product is one thing, right? It's great. Yes, you can structure your products, you can tag your products, you can add all this additional information, which is one thing. But having the options to really build separate hierarchies or separate catalogs from each other, it really allowed us to super efficiently manage multiple front ends with one backend. And that's just super exciting, right? So it's, of course, we have our brand team that is managing the products mainly. We have myself who are managing like orders and making sure that the setup is correct. And of course, we have tech teams who are looking into like all the integrations whenever we need them, right? So yeah, super exciting actually.
Yeah. So what I hear you saying is it's easy for someone like a merchandiser to go into our commerce dashboard and be able to manipulate the products in the catalog themselves. But at the same time, it's also very dev friendly where they can just use the APIs and not have to go into the commerce dashboard if they don't want to.
Oh,
So
absolutely. That was one thing that was like super important to us really as a startup company. The API first approach of Elastipath is just like awesome because it gives you all the flexibility, right? At the same time, you do have this interface that allows you to manage the catalog. And I say catalog, no, but it's way more than the catalog itself, right? And that's just fantastic because we can focus on the priorities that we have today. And as we grow, we can look into kind of like building out more APIs, but we still have the opportunity or the possibility to go into Elastipath, into PXM and manage our catalog there.
yeah. And can you dive into a little bit more of how you leverage PXM to make it easier to manage a mix of your orders and also your different fulfillment methods?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So I mentioned that we have different front ends. What we also have in our main solution, the Maavee app, is a wallet feature where we have Maavee Cash. Now that means that we have, as a customer, you can use Maavee Cash, which is basically money in your wallet that you get from your employers typically. Then you or you can pay with your credit card or even a combination of both, right?
Oh,
That means that first of all, you have to set it up, but then you have to manage it, right? And there's two important considerations that that we had to make. I mean, firstly, we have to track how was that order paid? How was it placed? Was it with Maavee Cash? Was it with credit card? Was it a combination? What was it, right? We need it for reporting purposes and everything down the line. Now, in Elastipath, that was just super easy to set up and manage and monitor. And that leads to the second consideration we have to make. How do you deal with refunds, right?
yeah.
Because, you know, you have to know how
They're always a big part of business. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, luckily we didn't see that many refunds until today, but we had to know, given that we had these multiple payment options in our solution, we had to know where the payment came from, what type payment was used, so we can do the right type of refund as well. And that was just super easy using PXM because you can see it. You can, as an administrator, you can just literally like with 1-2 clicks, you can process refunds and you see it very clearly and you can report on it. So that's super easy.
That's great to hear. So Tom, I would consider you an e-commerce visionary, just like you and Frank both. And so we always like to talk about the art of the possible. How do you foresee yourself doing product experiences and planning and building in the future with EPPXM?
Yeah, we actually have a pretty extensive list of enhancement and enhancement, but you know, phases that we define that we want to look into in the now basically already. And there's two projects that popped into my head when I think about Elastipath projects, like bigger projects, if you want. One is we want to, right now in Elastipath we can have different catalogs, which is fantastic. But the new feature that Elastipath just released is these splitting up store hierarchies, really.
Yeah.
And the great thing about that is it allows us for a more isolated management of our different stores. And we had, and you know that, Christine, we had meeting over meeting over meeting. And probably all the meetings we had will probably be like way more than the actual work, but we wanted to make sure that we really understand what we're doing. We really understand that our architecture and our vision is also supported by you, and you agree that, you know, we're on the right path. And it just allows us to be a little bit more, you know, have a more isolated management of these different stores without actually increasing our admin effort too much, which is fantastic.
And That's what's important, right? Like, right. So right now you're referring to what we call our multi-store management feature, where you have one basically master organization, and then you can filter that catalog down into your other stores, and basically different stores can pick and choose what's in their catalog, but it's all coming from the same place. So it's like you're saying, admin is going down because it's one place to update the products in the master catalog. That's something that we've been very excited about at Elastic Path, and I'm so happy that you mentioned that because it's a huge improvement to EPPXM also.
Yeah.
Tom, yeah, as always, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and we really appreciate your time and your e-commerce expertise, and also just we really value you as a customer. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, Christine. It was a pleasure. Thank you.